Well, it's tough to tell what the future holds for Twitter, but if anyone may have an idea, it's this guy, Dr. Olaf Groth, professor at UC Berkeley Haas School of Business and CEO of the think tank Cambrian AI. Thank you, AI. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope I said that correctly. I sort of spat it out there at the end. I want to start with Twitter. With all the drastic changes being made, what direction do you think Elon Musk is taking the social media company?
Yeah, good to be with you, Elizabeth. That is the big question of the week, right? So he has to do a number of things right now. And the first one is rebuild trust. He's laying off, rumor has it, some 3,000 people. We'll see what the actual numbers are today that are coming out. But certainly a very big percentage of the employee base. He's got to treat them well, and he's got to build trust with the people that are remaining, that he knows what he's doing and that they have good and productive jobs for the future. And that then, of course, also means that he has to pay attention to the product going forward and how he's putting all these people to good use, right? Because the markets are waiting. Advertisers are jumping off, as it were, at least pausing their advertising spend on Twitter until they can tell what he is up to, right? And that means looking at the subscription model to build communities, to give creators a platform, and for people to customize their feed intake so that they see more value in Twitter and that it becomes more critical path in people's lives. So the trust building with people, also entailing, of course, that he's got to keep his own opinions in check, where he is a leader of people now and of a news organization. That trust building and the product go hand in hand.
Crazy to think of Twitter as a news organization, but so many people do get their information from Twitter. I'm curious, though, with this big news of all these people being laid off, is this a sign of something bigger with the tech industry as a whole? Is this a sign of potentially a bubble being burst, which has been predicted for many, many years that there was going to reach some sort of precipice? Is this a precipice for the tech industry?
It is. Look, I mean, at Twitter, obviously, there were structural problems for a long time now. But overall, I think we've been irrationally exuberant with our hiring through the pandemic, as, of course, digital platforms had greater demand and as we were stuck in lockdowns. But we're now understanding that might have been overheated. A lot of the big companies like Meta, for instance, like Amazon, like Alphabet, Qualcomm, et cetera, and others are pausing their hiring, are instituting hiring freezes. The smaller companies like Snap, like Lyft, for instance, are in fact letting people go. And so they're realizing that there has been a hiring spree, that the growth cannot be kept up as macroeconomic factors are weighing down on consumer spending, on advertising spending. Of course, first and foremost, inflation, rising interest rates, right? But competition has also heated up in important spaces like streaming, right? And so those economic dynamics now need to be rebalanced, as it were. So this is now going to be a period of, I would think, at least sort of 2 to 4, maybe even 6 months of rebalancing in the tech industry.
When it comes to the tech industry and other businesses, all roads lead back to China. We just saw their video of Xi Jinping, who was just reappointed in China. What are the potential business impacts here stateside of that?
Yeah, so she has three priorities, right? The first one is, of course, internal financial stability and economic growth. That is not really working right now. We'll have to see what he does with it. But, people are protesting at small banks. They're leaving banks. They're going to bigger banks. There is only about 1% of all investment funds in China that are actually making money. There is a property, meltdown. That spells disaster on the financial front, economic growth. He needs to stimulate. There's a restructuring going on in the economy. And so we'll have to see how that goes, taking power away from big internet platform tycoons and trying to spur more investment in the hinterlands of China. That's a big bet. So big risk there. The second priority is military and defense, of course. Is he going to go after Taiwan? Is he going to spark more conflict in the Belt and Road Initiative by endorsing Putin, et cetera? That will yield supply chain uncertainties, right? And then there are internal leadership struggles. That's his third priority, where he's clearly shown that he is sidelining the grand old men of the party, as it were. He's also not really letting other people that are dissenting voices ascend around him, right, which yields a lot of blind spots for him going forward. So China, big topic, big problem spot right now for our supply chains. I would advise anybody who's got a business with China dependencies to figure out a China strategy or a China substitution strategy for them, for themselves, for the next couple of years.
All right. Speaking of more global business ventures, over in the UK, one of California's biggest trading partners, what can we expect with Rishi Sunak as prime minister there?
Yeah, in fact, Britain is in the top 10 of our trading and investment partners. The U.S. has a $1 trillion investment and trade relationship. About 120-ish thousand jobs in California itself are depending on the UK. Rishi Sunak here, a very competent, sound numbers guy, Stanford grad.
Right.
As a Berkeley guy, I tip my hat to the Stanford grad. So a little bit of California innovation there, hopefully. Also in the package, but first and foremost, a sound decision maker and decent man. We hear, however, he's got a very big package of problems to fix, right? He's got to calm down the bond market. It looks like that's starting to happen. He's going to have to work down the debt, which is very substantial. He's got to reform the National Health Institutes, which is a big issue in the UK. And he's going to have to spur productivity, which has been down for a couple of years now. Britain is really lagging behind the rest of Europe and coming out of the pandemic and still stuck in sort of pandemic level productivity. So that means he's going to have to invest in R&D and skills development, et cetera. So it's a very well-rounded but huge package. I think it's going to be a tough haul for him for the next 2 to 3 years, and hopefully he's going to get it done.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Dr. Olaf Groth from UC Berkeley Haas School of Business. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.